of everything.
Are we ready?
I'm ready. I've been recording.
Hey, Ralph, come on. Ralph, we're ready.
I was going to have a chat with Harold, but
Apparently we've already started. So, the question is...
are you going to talk while eating on film?
No.
We like order in the right. There's order in the right way.
The question is,
Yes.
Is this the end of the Danny Tommo after his two performances over the past 2 weekends, where the first weekend, weekends ago, or yesterday, in fact, he was had a bit of an argument with the DFLA and they told him to leave their thing. They didn't want to make it a Tommy Robinson thing. And the weekend before, he tried to provoke the crowd at an anti-Boris march, wouldn't answer any of my questions.
One second.
Once the crowd...
DJ,
Once the crowd... Hold
I
on.
think it's best. I don't think we can do any justice. I don't think we'll hear that with this. Oh yeah, I guess you guys could be up on the show.
I didn't see that diamond.
I don't know what happened.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I think sounds like you turned up after.
Yeah, I might as well.
Target practice. I'm not sure if there was a full fight. It was just like a bit of a pushing.
Far right in the way. Far right in the way. Oh, I'll go on. Right, I think it's just simple background noise, ambient noise. Right, your questions are what?
Is this the end of Danny Tommo? Sorry, please continue.
Is this the end of Danny Tommo after his two poor performances in the last couple of weekends? Yesterday, he had a bit of a fight with the DFLA. Not sure if it reached punching, but there was some shoving. DFLA telling Danny Tommo to go away. We don't want to make this into a Tommy Robinson thing. Even though all the DFLA fans are singing Tommy Robinson songs. And the weekend before, Danny Tommo went to the anti-Boris protests to, according to his Twitter, to provoke a reaction. Well, not, he didn't say provoke a reaction, but to wind up the lefties. And he tapped me on the shoulder, introduced himself to me. I tried to have a conversation with him. He didn't want to talk to me, even though he just introduced himself. And then when the crowd turned on him, and the crowd started chanting songs at him, he didn't want any of it. There was no violence, there was no intimidation. He walked all the way himself to the train station, all shepherded by about 1,000 anti-fascists who kind of were glad to walk him all the way there non-violently.
So if I understand, I can unpack that entire paragraph structure. The first and primary question, is this the end of Danny Tommo because of events that occurred in two things over these past times? I was with Danny, as were others yesterday on Parliament Square. And not at all, and why is that? Because Danny, first and foremost, is a patriot, like we are. Danny Tommo as a person is less important as Danny Tommo as a voice, and Danny Tommo's voice has formidable support across the nation because he represents the message that we deliver. Personal things, as I understand it from my people, little inter-firm football issues have nothing to do with either Danny Tommo the person or Danny Tommo the message. I was there when Antifa came up to us as a baying crowd of jackals, and there was about, 5-10 of us, and about a few hundred of them. And the police peacefully negotiated our separation and travel, as they should do in a democracy. Danny Tommo's voice will grow from strength to strength. Danny Tommo is a patriot. He represents England and he represents the right.
So I bring up I wanted to also bring up the difference in treatment in the way that Danny was walked to the train station unharmed at a left-wing protest 2 weekends ago, whereas and the police didn't do him for breach of the peace.
Walked by the police or by...
He tried to walk on his own. You escorted half the way, and then he tried to walk on his own and was escorted by less police the rest of the way.
I could see the kind of people, Antifa, what was it, last weekend, when there were a lot of, quite a few Tommy Robinson fans, and Antifa as well, shouting. I saw some of that on the right, and they looked like the kind of people who wanted to pop off and have a fight.
Who? Antifa.
Yeah, Antifa, for sure. Yeah.
So there's two separate
I'm not
things
sure.
to
Well,
discuss
here's the
here.
thing. I just wanted to say the difference in treatment between Danny Tommo at that left-wing protest where he didn't get hurt that day. Like he was just, there was just basically they didn't care about anyone else but Danny Tommo, right? So it was the crowd against not all you guys. It was against Danny Tommo.
No, you focus on Danny Tommo. The crowd would focus, as Antifa would do, on Danny
he's Tommy
Tommo
Robinson's right-hand man.
As a figurehead in our movement, as are many figureheads in many movements, and rightfully so. You have the right to confront and challenge us, and we have the right to respond and safely go home.
But and that's the thing. No, there was no violence enacted against Danny Tommo against Danny Tommo that day. Yeah. Whereas when I go to right-wing protests, sometimes I'm removed instantly for breach of the peace just for showing my face.
Rightfully so.
Just for breach, just for showing my face. And sometimes when I am in there, I'll get frog marched out or I'll get pushed away by the own supporters, and I will not be allowed in there. Whereas Danny Tommo's allowed to go in there with a camera, provoke a situation for propaganda purposes, whereas I go without a camera just to talk to people, and I'm not even allowed to do that.
That's not a fair characterization. Let me tell you why. Go on. Both sides have their views. Your propaganda as a member of Antifa and a representative of Antifa.
I'm not a representative of Antifa.
But you
Antifa don't like me.
Let's take turns.
In fact, I don't know if they like me before.
We can take turns to be nice. So, and as
but
a
I speak for myself. I'm not a representative of Antifa, so don't say that.
And as members of Antifa were there all around us, and they're allowed to do what they are, so are we. There's two questions here. Are we allowed to do so with any breach of the peace? If I went and agitated a stand up to racism march, if I went and agitated an Antifa march, the police have the right to remove me as they deem me as a threat to the breach of the peace. You are known to be running around chasing
They didn't do that. They didn't do that to Danny when he was there.
With the police. I think the police have the right to
and that's what I'm saying.
So
the Tommy Robinson supporters usually like to say that there's a two-tier policing system and it favours the left, but there isn't. It favours the right because they're allowed to go and film the crowd provocatively, whereas I'm not allowed to go into a right-wing protest just to speak to people in good faith.
Both sides will feel unjustly treated by the police like we do on our side, as you will on your side. And in both cases, we will feel partisan, and rightfully so we should do because we are passionate. And the police are the only arbiter of what is partisan on, and the final arbiter is the IPCC. If we believe the Complaints Commission is the right place to take any concerns about policing. We believe in the right way of police badly, as do you. But Tommy, let's be clear, Danny Tommo, and we were stood with him, and we went right through. The police, I was there early. The police used a three-ring choral system. They tested the horses first in Parliament Square. They tested the horses and then they choraled us in, right?
It was a fairly young crowd yesterday. I mean, we're talking like 200-300 people or something. There didn't seem to be any rabid kind of Antifa types. There weren't anyone carrying kind of maces or bats and stuff like that. So I think we knew.
I've never seen an Antifa carry a mace.
I've seen a few. Certainly,
a mace?
Even around London in recent protests.
But Antifa violence.
Even just, I'm pretty sure a week ago I saw, and I wasn't there at the time. I was there in the morning. I left it. But I just wanted to stick up for you for 1 sec. I think that there are obviously, if you look from the police's perspective, there are going to be some people who've been drinking on Tommy's side, who do drink, who are kind of, football types who want to ruck and have a bit of a kick-off, sometimes maybe potentially, and they probably look at you and think this is an accident or maybe a violent confrontation kind of waiting to happen, and I'm assuming they look and think, well, maybe if you've done this before as well, if you're just there, and I am absolutely I respect your right to be there. I'm just thinking maybe the police think this is not a good idea. They don't want to see you get
exactly.
Your head
so there's a two-tier system.
Has a potential of happening.
Yeah,
I'm
I think that's
not on
true
the
as
side
well.
of people who are just going to walk around pissed. Even start on people like myself who are often just there for the protest. Right?
So Danny got kicked away, out of the DFLA protest yesterday before you met him, and the DFLA lads were the lads who were going out causing all sorts of shit. They were trampling over the cenotaph, all the memorials, the poppy memorials that were there. They were fighting with the police outside the cenotaph.
And to be clear, when Danny and the rest of us walked down Whitehall, and we were there in the middle of that situation, you were observing it from the outside, we could feel a braying herd of people around us screaming, racist, fascist.
There was no one throwing
Nazis,
fences.
There was no argumentation. They were screaming, Nazis come off our street as
Yeah,
they
do you
walk
know how
down.
often I'm getting called a paedophile protector and a snitch and all sorts of shit at right-wing protests? But I don't react to it. I don't go looking for it. I go for good faith dialogue with people off camera just to discuss the facts, because I realise that they're in an echo chamber and I want to give them the opposite left-wing view, as opposed to an off-camera in good faith, as opposed to someone going up to someone with a camera going, how many refugees have you met?
Yeah. I mean, I talked to a few Tommy Robinson fans, just people randomly at a few of those demos. And they remembered
in the middle of my direct line of sight of the
I think there was a
ruining
week
my camera
before
work.
that you'd been kicked out at one of the protests, and the following week, I think it was, you were dragged from the thing again. And I was like, Jesus, that guy's got them. We were both saying, this guy's got some balls on him, I tell you, and to be there on your own in a protest where there are people, I think, just at least probabilistically likely to maybe try and push you and try and fuck with you a bit, and maybe prompt you to try and hit them, maybe.
And that did happen with the guy who I just had a chat with Kevin Carroll, because I was speaking to him the night before on Twitter, and that's Tommy Robinson's cousin and co-founder of the EDL. So I thought, he's like high up there. He'll like look after me while we're having a chat. He walked off. And then, as I realised I'm surrounded by all these Tommy Robinson fans.
As you'd expect, because you went in there yourself.
Yeah, usually I do try and put myself in safe situations with exit routes and by the police. Let me finish. Let me finish. So I do try and be safe and keep where there's exit routes for escape or by police where they can like quickly get there. But so I just thought, this is a golden moment. Kevin Carroll's right there. It's a dangerous spot, but fuck it, I'll just take a risk. And then as that chat finished, all the Tommy Robinson supporters started streaming past. I was stuck against the wall. I just thought, I'll grin and bear it. They all started chanting at me like they did to Danny. And then a guy started waving a flag in my face. He poured lager on my head. I thought once, whatever. The second, he went back again to pour more lager over my head. I thought, okay, he's up for a water fight. I'll pour water on his head. He didn't like that. Bashed the water out of my hand, slammed his can on my head, and tried to like kick my head off my shoulders. So like, that's just the difference. But that's the difference in treatment between a left-wing protest and a right-wing protest.
Because I was there at the last event, you're rehashing the same old story we know again and again what happened to you. But the last recent event, Antifa came up to us. They tried to hassle me and Danny and all of us, but the same way. So I'm not sure what the point of this discussion is. Yeah, the last time, not yesterday.
No.
So are we here to talk about? I'm just curious why we're here. Are we here to talk about Danny Tommo or your history?
No one poured lager on his head. Like,
no, they tried. I was there.
Someone threw a bottle right at the end, but only after Danny Tommo pushed someone from behind. Yeah. And it's lucky, like you saw, Danny, look around for cameras. I just literally ran around the banner to get this on camera. As Danny's looking one way, the camera woman walks in front of his line of sight to me. He doesn't think I'm there. He thinks the coast is clear to make a provocative move. He pushes this guy, thinking no one's going to get that on camera. I got it on camera, and it's bang to rights. That is what I was there for, to get that provocative.
No, engagement of both sides. And you're with anything of substance to discuss. Because ultimately, we're here to discuss the side. You have the right here. That you can ask questions. We seem more obsessed with the drama of how we interact. So of course both sides will be passionate. If you wanted a right-wing crowd, if I wanted Antifa by myself, then we can expect opposition. So there's nothing unusual here, nothing out of the ordinary.
I just want to be sure, maybe you guys have already covered this. Are you right-wing or far right-wing?
As far right as you can get.
So Danny Tommo and...
Danny Tommo is left-wing compared to me, yes.
Excuse me? He's left-wing compared to you?
Indeed. As is Tommy Robinson.
So you're more... Wow. As is Tommy Robinson.
Right.
However, you do attend their marches. And you do fully support them.
I support the entire spectrum of the right, from your average social run-of-the-mill conservative to someone all the way who represents the ultimate right wing, which is God, Green and country.
And will you ever criticise anyone on the right?
I will not counter-sing on the right because it's politically not expedient. So the weakness of the right is purity spiraling. The weakness of the left is it eats itself.
Do you not
Even
think
learn on the right,
do you not-
the intelligentsia on the right will not counter-signal the right.
So what have you got to say about DFLA kicking Danny Tommo out of the protest
Again,
yesterday?
I reference the fact that you're more interested in the drama, though you claim to
No,
want to
but you're just
substantially
saying that
talk
the
about
left
issues.
eat themselves. This is an example
No,
of the right
as a
eating
philosophical
themselves.
concept. No, it's a philosophical
No, but this is
concept.
I just gave you an example of the right eating themselves, and now you don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't mind talking about it, but I think there's...
So what do you have to say about DFLA kicking out Danny Tommo yesterday?
But the point is, again, that we have differences between Anne-Marie Waters, Gerard Batten, Nigel Farage, Boris, and we all have different axes on which we do it. On street levels, or football firms, or marches,
majority
those
of
grievances
people-
are many things. The left have it another way.
Why don't you want to answer the question that I
But
just
I'm
asked?
answering
Right?
it. So the left have a
The
difference,
vast
right?
majority of individuals don't want to have any of these kinds of disputes. Want just to come there for the day and just to post their frustration, as we did yesterday with the anti-Brexit kind of marches and stuff.
Don't you think a violent revolution is necessary?
The left fundamentally, intellectually, are revolutionary to the extreme. We in the right are reactionary to the extreme. So of course the left want, what do the left want? That. What do we want? This. Those are the extremities. Right? So yesterday in Parliament
Are
Square...
you part of his extremity?
No, but yesterday, as part of the extremity of the left, as they stood on the stage, a Nigerian woman, a Bangladeshi chef, a right-wing Tory, a conservative Tory, all made left-wing power movements as they claimed the left-wing ideological mantras of inclusivity, diversity, and equity. These are left-wing concepts, and we let them speak those
So
concepts.
Ralph, I'll ask you the question again. Have you got anything to say about DFLA kicking out Danny Tommo yesterday?
No, again, I say, I would expect normal, healthy rivalry between the DFLA, Tommy Robinson, other street
and that's
movements.
not, but it is an example of the right wing eating itself.
It's a way to a purity spiral, but it's healthy and expected.
Sorry,
So it's healthy when the right eats itself, but it's unhealthy when the left
No,
eats itself.
we don't eat ourselves. We purity spiral. You eat
Purity.
yourself. So let me give you an example of left wing eating itself.
I just ate bread.
Trans-exclusionary radical feminism. Right, so the TERFs, the hardcore exclusionary radical feminists, don't want transgendered women to be considered women. That's the left eating itself. LGBTQ does not want to go to Islam and negotiate child sex education. Left eating itself. The right purity spiral.
So we'll go back to Danny
No
Tommo.
problem.
There was other things that Danny Tommo did at the
God bless
anti-Boris
Danny
rally, where he just exposed his grifting tactics. One of those was underneath the Brexit Now banner. There was a black guy with this praising this banner, this sign praising Boris.
Yes, hail Boris.
And then Danny Tommo, realising this was a good photo opportunity, grabs the guy by the shoulders and he's like, "What's this black man doing here? What's this black man doing here supporting us?" And then right next to me was this black woman saying, "What are you talking about? We don't care about you."
Yes, I can explain that quite easily.
Hold on. And then I spin the camera around to show this black woman. Danny Tommo realises now that's on camera. He drops his hands from the guy's shoulder and just walks away.
So
Puts his hand on his hips and blows his
So I can explain that quite
fucking
easily.
lips.
So I can explain
As if
that
to be
quite
like,
easily.
fucking hell,
I can
nothing's
explain
going
that
right
very
for me
easily.
today.
The left will accuse the right of racism, Nazism, and fascism. So their worst fear is a non-white advocate for white rights, someone who will bust this anti-diversity myth. Just like the left's concern is, we have a Muslim, a refugee, a gay person, a transgender, a homosexual, and an immigrant.
You were constantly complaining that on Saturday. You
So
were
you have your
constantly
motley
complaining
rainbow
that there was no diversity in that crowd.
It wasn't.
When
So
there
yesterday-
there was plenty of diversity.
So yesterday,
Go
Parliament
look at my
Square- were you
footage
there,
on
Parliament
Twitter.
Square?
It's Mark Lister 3K.
Stop sobbing yourself, it's very cringy.
Fascist Beware on Facebook. Unfortunately, my YouTube channel Fascist
really
Beware.
notice, I don't know how much longer we want to give
My
Mark Lister
YouTube
time
channel,
to just
Fascist
promote
Beware,
himself.
has been taken down
Yes, it
yesterday.
has. Your Twitter channel will be
Probably,
soon following.
probably by a
Yes.
mass report by people like him.
Correct, and you will be
These
you
free
will be
speech
the one to be
advocates.
coming down, too. More videos from you. So, if we're done, does that answer your question? Is that
You didn't actually answer his question.
Yeah.
which question was that?
Well, actually, no. You said that when the right don't tear themselves apart, they go through what was
purity spiral.
That was where you
Right.
it.
So
can you-
but intellectually in the right, that problem has occurred throughout history of right wing.
So it-
Catholic versus
so-
Protestant,
Demonstrations
Orthodox versus
on the
Christian,
right that have been
purity,
on-
purity.
So does this mean
Right,
it
that's
is?
the right
So does this mean it
intellectual
is the end of Danny Tommo?
No, it isn't.
And he has just been purified.
No, Danny
from
Tommo
the
is about to
movement.
go in from strength to strength. As Tommy Robinson, peace be unto him, is released shortly from prison, and when Tommy, peace be unto him, comes out, Danny will ride with the waves of him, because Danny is not a person. Danny is also a symbol of a voice. And Danny Tommo's voice will be heard louder and stronger as we sweep through Europe, claiming what rightfully is our power.
So can you?
So hail Danny Tommo, good man.
Can you suggest a reason to why he would tap me on the shoulder after? So in the morning, he said that he was having breakfast with my mother and then my sister, and then we can meet afterwards. No need to go hunting him. So I was like, cool, you unblocked me, because he blocked me on Twitter for a year. Can you then tell me why he tapped me on the shoulder and introduced himself, for then him not to want to talk to me?
Well, one thing you learn about the right wing is...
Can you answer that question?
Absolutely. So one thing you learn about the right wing, and I speak with Danny Tommo, is we're impeccably well-mannered. So Danny Tommo would have said hello to you as a civil gesture, but it's crystal clear, and I have been witness to this, and film coming out soon on my channel. Subscribe to The Right Reaction. We'll be documenting people like Mr. consistently falling around, begging, cloud chasing with Danny. With Danny's very clear, he doesn't want to speak to you. So you can try that.
No,
and
he
it's
made
your
it
right
clear
to do so.
by
I would
tweet.
defend your right to do so.
He made it clear by tweet that he...
I would defend your right to ask to beg for an interview with Danny, but if Danny chooses out of his own thing not to do so, so be it. Of course, he'd say hello because we're terribly polite. In the right, aren't we, Preston?
Should we quote his tweet?
Preston is terribly polite in the right, as is everyone else. And do you have any questions? Does this all make sense?
Oh, it all makes sense. It's interesting how you've used it as a purity spiral.
It is intellectually
what the
happens.
DFLA did to...
It's what happens between Brexit, Anne-Marie Waters leaving the UK, Boris, the Conservative Party, Amber Rudd are examples of the weakness of the right, which is purity spiraling. The left's weakness is eating itself.
There are conservatives,
and this is
there are,
intellectually the
people
case,
in the centre are just pro-Brexit. There are more hardliners there, and I think that over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of these protests have taken place without any significant problems at all. You might get 2 or 3 people arrested pushing the police about and stuff.
So is a purity spiral going to take place in Johnson's cabinet?
Oh, but it does in every institution structure in the right, not just the cabinet, within all right-wing structures, within our churches. Let me give Islam as an example. Islam is a very right-wing structure. Within Islam, there's purity spiraling between the ummahs.
It just sounds like a politically correct way of saying eliminating people who don't agree with you.
No. A politically correct way of saying we're not good enough for each other is the test. So it's a test of the mirror polarity of exclusivity, whereas the left want inclusivity.
So Tommo's not good enough to be with the DFLA.
And then there are extreme left-wing communists.
He's a supporter of Danny Tommo and the DFLA.
The DFLA is very left-wing community. They're one of our street movements. We have many street movements, we have media movements, we have think tank movements. Remember, we are in political power. We, the right, are in political power. Trump, Brexit, Boris Johnson, we are the ones in charge, right? So this is a switch. The pendulum is swung this way, and in the next 5-10 years, we expect it to swing a lot further. Coming to the left. So Danny Tommy Robinson,
these next elections,
and others have a place to play.
We'll see when the election comes if the right keeps winning.
Well, right now the Conservatives, as of last night, are polling 11.
Do you support Tommy Robinson?
Cross-channel interference.
So you're against all this violence, but you still support Tommy Robinson, who goes around punching England fans and who has a very violent support.
Well, he punches Nazis. Do you have a problem with that?
No, he doesn't really punch Nazis. He punches people who he has disputes with within his movement. Who happens to be a Nazi.
Can I say something to be fair to you, Lister? 90% of your remarks have all been about the drama and the people, but not the subject of the content.
No,
Yet on the other hand, you complain
all the
that you don't have a conversation. So here you have a chance for a conversation on policy.
The comments are talking about how the right is eating itself,
correct,
like you're talking about.
Yeah,
and I just want
we're a lot more unified.
I just wanted to.
No, but that's the source of our power. Is our difference.
I just want him to answer the question why he supports Tommy Robinson when he doesn't like violence.
So he's been in the media for some years now, promoting just criticism of Islam, far and radical kind of Islam,
grooming gangs
as well, grooming gangs, sure.
Why doesn't he talk about the non-brown skin grooming gangs as well?
Because everyone else is going to go on about
many
it.
times.
Give an example.
Which one do you mean?
The
majority of them are Muslims.
Really? So nobody else is doing the grooming?
I'm not saying nobody else. The majority of them are Muslims.
Political
if 90% of
when 90% of the pedophiles are white, shouldn't he spend 90% of the time talking about white pedophiles, if that's the case?
I'm not saying all Chinese people are.
Exactly.
That's a lot of children now, lots of young girls.
But there's thousands of victims there's thousands of victims in the football coaching grooming scandal. that are largely white, and white perpetrators. So why isn't, and this is within the football movement, something that is close to Tommy? Why isn't he talking about something that's close to home as well as something that's far away?
Because everyone has a talent and a place and a role. You can't speak about everything.
Yeah,
all
but
the time
surely
to
his
everyone.
talent is football.
No,
Like,
clearly the world,
there
media
are
has
larger
judged his
cultural
talent as being this.
things going on.
the
in
media
this
is
country,
well.
media.
He's never done anything to expose the football.
No. But I'm saying the world media has judged his talent as for speaking up for the voice of the victims of grooming gangs all the way throughout corrupt society.
No, his
That's his role.
propagandizing.
Someone
We're
else
talking
does
about
something
tens
else.
of thousands of young girls and boys as well, like across the country now for a very long time, for decades and decades.
And
No,
there's
no. That wasn't why he started doing
Tommy
this.
over everything.
He didn't start off doing
Phenomenon
that.
it's a really big. No, he didn't
England
start, but he's
over
certainly been one of the biggest. People like public speakers on the
He's
scene,
not.
you know?
He's not even the biggest public
And
speaker on the scene talking about it.
But my
The-
question is
he's
why-
all-
He's most
been-
relatable to the working class.
But why is
Yeah,
he
because
censored, Tommy?
okay, so once you've convinced
he's
the
been
working
obsessed with
class
Tommy.
to not
Censored like
hold on,
crazy.
hold on. This is his tactic from beginning, start to beginning. Convince the working class that the mainstream media lies and they can't be trusted. So
But they
never,
can't. They cover
never,
this
so
up.
never read them. And then once you've convinced them to not ever read them and only get your news from me,
media were-
then you're
BBC
in this
were made
echo
aware of
chamber
people like,
where
Jimmy
all of us,
Savile.
where all of a sudden.
The back stuff was great.
Whatever I say goes, and so you're never aware of who's actually exposed this, the grooming gangs in the media, because you only listen to
What is
Tommy,
it,
who claims
78%
that he's
of those grooming
exposing
gangs
it. But when
were Muslim?
Tommy Robinson has only ever quoted
big
the
number.
mainstream media
Up
in
to
his
91%, I think it
exposés,
was.
like
When you
how
look
can you
at
expose
the names
grooming
of these
gang
people,
that is on trial,
they
that has
had
already
Muslim
been
names, 91%.
arrested?
over a period of decades. Some people
That's
had
not
to.
true.
Some people no. Some people actually got a hold of the records, the legal records
have
of the people that were prosecuted. I think for paedophilia, and I think they might have been the convictions, and 91%
I have the
had
data.
Muslim
I'm happy
names.
to
That is absolutely
Here's
not
a-
true.
here's a
No,
top
no,
point.
out of all the people,
Here's a
no,
top point.
hold on.
84%.
Okay, so you,
All right, so somewhere between 84 and 91%
hold on, no,
is where it would have been. And that's
hold
too
on.
damn
The
many
Quilliam
people,
report,
man.
the Quilliam report has already been debunked to the point where the
No,
Quilliam,
it has.
hold on, listen to me.
By a left-wing university
No,
professor.
hold on. Quilliam
I don't-
initially released this report by saying it's a comprehensive study, and once it got debunked, they had to change that without telling anyone.
Trying to
that
debunk those large numbers. They actually got onto this whole thing. It was
No, hold
Quilliam,
on.
remember?
Listen to me for a
They
second.
wanted
Listen
a
to me
really
for
low
second.
number.
Listen to me for a second.
Okay.
Quilliam had to change the report from a comprehensive study to just a study. So it was a comprehensive is a study that encompasses everything to just a study that doesn't have to encompass everything. Why did they change and edit that study without telling anyone that they just edited
Do you know
it in
who's
such
investigating? Do you know who's
such a
currently in
massive
England
way?
responsible?
this. I
Do you
remember.
know?
Hold on, let him
who's
answer that
responsible?
question.
Yeah, but do you know who's
Ralph, don't
responsible?
ask me another question. Let him respond to the question I
And we'll
asked.
go after that. Talk about that.
Okay, I looked into this because I heard the media, some left wing, I don't know who it was.
It was Ella Cockbain.
BBC, something like that.
Ella
And
Cockbain, if you want to look her up on
contested
Twitter.
Who contested that study. And what I found was I can't remember exactly what I read, but I heard something of a fairly good rebuttal to that claim. And Quilliam,
So
remember, a
happens
left-wing
that
think tank.
That guy,
it's
it was
quite-
actually
it's pretty easy to take data from records and stuff, from convictions and from prosecutions.
But that's
and
not
stuff.
how they took the data. They took the
And
data.
look at the
hold on.
individuals involved.
That's not how they took the
All right,
data.
you
They
can
took
collate this stuff reasonably
they
easily.
took the data from newspapers. So
So
it
can I
was
ask you a
how
simple
newspapers
question?
classified. It was how newspapers classified these grooming gangs.
So can
I
If
ask
the
you a simple
newspaper
question?
classified
How
it
many
as a
data-
grooming
how
gang,
many data
it
sets
was a
do you
grooming
have?
gang. If the newspaper classified it as a paedophile
But you have
ring,
the
it was a
narrative of the
paedophile
media.
ring, and then it didn't show
But
up in
but
their
hang on,
in
but
their
you're the
search
but you're the
terms.
narrative
So what
of
they were
media,
doing
right?
was looking at these crimes that were being classified as different ways, but they're
just so similar in nature that they should be classed as the
So
same.
how many data sets do you have of the actual crimes that people are guilty of yourself, Lister?
You don't have any data sets,
No, no,
Ralph.
that's
Every
what
time
we-
you talk about
Yeah,
data
but how
sets,
many-
you talk about having
yeah.
all the data
We
on
need to
specific
find this
people.
out.
You don't have data on anything.
I'm saying, how many of those data people, their names, trials, the ones already convicted, that become a matter of public record, do you have?
All I want to know is the truth.
No, hang on, just 1 second. I have a question for Lister. How many of the data ones do you have? I have 327.
You don't have any data.
That's 327.
You don't have any data.
So for COE and everything, to Lister watching the fact Lister has no data sets yet. He speaks to the grooming gangs.
You don't have any data.
When I get home,
I'm not a person
and I
who
speak to the
collects
camera.
data.
Obviously, clearly not. So to COE in the camera, when I get home, I will publish on this video comment stream the 327 data sets of Muslims. Their names are already publicly convicted in reverse chronological
what
order.
I've seen as
The
well.
most popular name is the last
Okay.
327. We have more.
Okay,
but I'll give you
then.
the last 327.
So then I'll
And to be
just
clear,
Google all the
Lister
white
is-
paedophiles.
Lister is arguing
I'll
from a
Google all
position
the
of no
white
data.
Coordinated
paedophiles.
sex
I'll Google
crime.
all the white paedophiles in the country,
Again,
and then I'll vote
but
like
you're
fucking
running,
thousands.
You're running
of
away
them.
from the issue. We're talking
No,
about
no,
white
no.
pedophiles.
Yeah, because it's got a higher
We're
population.
Yeah, exactly. So what is
My
this
point
proving?
is-
But what is this proving?
It's
My point
So
is,
what-
you're
what is
trying to
pro-
make
what
a
is-
narrative
what
and
is-
data you don't have.
It's not-
What is,
it's not
what
only
is
happened in Britain.
publishing 300 names of convicted Muslims?
Because
for
my point
paedophilia
is,
gonna
you're
prove?
arguing from a case of no observational data empirically, and you're making a claim at the narrative level and at the metamedia narrative level. When I asked you, how many data points have you observed and measured
No,
from
I'm just
public
talking
data?
about the-
You don't have
No,
any.
no,
You said,
no.
I don't care
No,
for
I'm
data.
talking about the fact
on
that
COE
study
again,
that's been
Lister
published.
and Tifa left have no data on Muslim gaming gangs, yet make claims about them propositionally. When I get
No,
home, I
I-
shall publish
no,
the names.
you're
And do you know what the
still-
most common name is?
Don't
Mohammed.
say it.
Lister, why
hold
do you
on.
think of the most common
Again-
name being Mohammed?
This is main.
Right, hold
a lot
on.
of this has been
Hold
published
on.
in mainstream.
Hold on.
No, no,
Hold on.
court
Could
records.
possibly
Court
be the
Okay,
records.
so you're just gonna
Court
just gonna
record,
talk
court
about
record
it.
data, public court order data.
A lot of this has
Now,
been.
as a
over the
Muslim
years as well.
apologist for Muslim
So-
grooming gangs,
One over
listen,
You're
again.
talking past the point that the 84% figure is
But that's a
completely
Quilliam thing,
debunked.
that's a red herring.
And now you're just pulling out. Oh, I've googled
the court
30.
record, but
I've
I'm saying on claim for public record in England today, the
debate's
year of our
done.
Lord
This debate's done because
2019.
Ralph cannot allow me to speak, so I'm done. I've got to go to work, and I've also got to make
Wait,
a
wait,
phone
there's
call.
a difference
Let's
between
go.
grooming gangs and individual pedophiles,
Correct.
which I
Different
will
class of
assume
crime.
they're more.
No, and paedophile rings.
Different class of
Yeah,
crime.
but that is
They're
not.
elite.
On the,
I mean,
again,
No, if
they're
it's a
more
white,
elite gangs.
if it's a white gang, it's classified as a paedophile ring. If it's an Asian gang, it's always classified in the media as a grooming gang. So when you're searching for your data in the media, you're going to have a bias that is the same as the media bias. So if you don't like, if you think the media has a bias and it keeps lying, don't look up studies that take all their data from the media,
Correct,
which
correct.
is what you are
Lister
doing.
is correct. Look at the first class primary source material, which are the public transfers of the court cases, which he has not done so. I will again, for the record, publish 327 in reverse chronological order.
Ralph is
And
on
look at the
record.
primary
Ralph
source
is on
material.
record to say that he'll lie about his own and
Primary
the
source
opposition's
material
position.
on COE.
to-
I tell you, share this with your friends widely. so
And
everyone
again, he's
knows
talking
about
over me.
this. Listless. This Antifa
I have
member.
Ralph on film admitting that he is a troll, not worthy of listening to.
Finland.
So
Finland has also had problems with Muslim
And
gangs.
God bless Danny Tommo, the original conversation here. He's a good man, a patriot, and he stands up for England, unlike Lister. From the wall.
Maybe
I'm
we
gonna
can
shut
come back
this
and
down.
talk about this when maybe we have some data. That would be good.
well,
we
well,
can-
you've read the debunking of.
Oh, sure, I did. I'm pretty
of,
sure. I'm
so
actually
you
very
know
positive I
Ella
did. I don't-
Cockbain debunked.
I don't
this.
remember
And you,
details like
and, you,
names
and, you,
stuff
and you
like
know
this.
that
Secondary
and you know
and
that
tertiary.
the, and you
Lister's
know that
trying
the
to
report was
argue
edited
tertiary and
from a
secondary
comprehensive
material
study to a
as
study.
opposed to primary
And you know
source
the
material.
significance
I'd
of
love
that.
to
Those
see
listening
that.
in can go and get from the United
Go
Kingdom.
read it.
Let's find out.
Justice
Let's
No,
record.
find
because
out. Let's find
someone who is
I'm-
like
I'm-
signed putting all this data to the test to try and see if it was true to recreate the results. When they noticed that the
I've
word
seen
count had
debunkings
changed, the word count had changed in the
lots and then
report.
not necessarily
Yeah, but
debunkings,
how can
right?
someone release a report
But listen,
and then
you
someone's
don't have
working
any
on
of the
it,
data.
and then
What are you
for
talking
2
about?
years he goes back after
But
2
listen, you
years.
can't name any.
This is
Can you
stuff
tell me?
that
Can
you
you
can
rank the
check
first 5 orders
convictions
of
and ask
cities?
these people
Can you tell me what are the top 5
religion
towns in
they
England
belong
with
to.
grooming gangs by
Rotherham.
order of rank?
Rotherham,
Can you-
Telford.
But you know the numbers, so you have to go to Google because you
It's
seem
not
to be
gonna- it's not gonna be
speaking
hard to
about things
find
you don't
out
know
this
anything about.
stuff.
You don't know
and
anything
mostly
about
Muslim,
that.
and mostly Muslim
Again, for the
areas, you know.
record, we will publish the data of the
Again,
Muslim
for the
grooming gangs
record,
as per Lister's
I've got it
request.
on record that
Lister
Ralph
would like the
talks
records
shit.
of the Muslim grooming gangs to be published.
find out.
Look,
And,
it's
Antifa's request will be honoured on COE.
I mean, look at packing up COE.
Lister
I mean, look
over
at Pakistan.
everything.
Look at Pakistan. It's got a huge epidemic of children being raped.
La 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 la
No, it's on serious. On a serious point.
DJ is a Riza, Riza is a DJ. La la
but
la
yeah,
la
but
la la la.
We can look at it we can look at it without taking in the religion into account, because Pakistan and Afghanistan, they got a very strong patriarchy where a lot of the women are married, but a lot of men are married to multiple women. And therefore, that's going to leave.
young as well.
And
They've got very young women.
And therefore, that's going to leave a lot of men without any means of reproducing. And that's often the case where they go to like be,
things
pedophiles
extra,
or just raping,
sure. Extramarital, sexy fine time, sure, stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think resounding across the
we've
country.
got both the qualitative and quantitative data on this.
This is it, and I don't necessarily trust mainstream articles that tell people that they're debunking stuff. I mean, this can be true.
Oh yeah, there are cases where
it can
they've
happen, but it's the Quilliam Foundation are a left-wing foundation, and they were shocked by what they found. And I understand what Lister was saying there about the comprehensivity of the study maybe not being quite broad enough, and I did read that. I read what he was talking about, and as far as I can tell, it was quite misleading. Quite misleading. It had omissions in it.
Come on, do we really think that there's actually a lot of
the
white
wording
people
is
in
essential
their trucks, standing out for to manipulate girls?
Right.
Their forms would have been a lot more sophisticated. Where it would have been like people on the internet, but people, from Pakistan, they would often be like they would often be out driving about and really like manipulating these girls to give them treats and all that stuff.
Absolutely, and you're talking some young girls as well. It wasn't just people in their early teens,
Oh yeah,
I've heard some shocking stories, and it's been going on for decades.
Yeah, and it's
I'm
disgusting
fed up
that the
with
police
If we
literally,
hadn't-
like a father heard that.
How much
well,
more
the
would
father
it be going on now?
got a call from a daughter, who was actually the guys who were raping her during that time. He goes to their house, and the police arrest him before he could
Right,
intervene.
exactly, yeah. I mean, shocking story. Girls getting branded.
Branded,
with
yeah,
Muhammad, and
or having glass bottles shoved up them, or something like that. Broken glass bottles.
Even a girl getting chewed up and put into kebab meat, and I think that.
And served to their parents, I think, if that's true.
I remember the police had actually caught some of these guys on a hidden camera talking about it. And it was in the mainstream media. It's all there. You can have a look. I can't remember what the girl's name was. It was somewhere in the Midlands. Yeah, disgusting story though. And remember, if the police hadn't have locked this down and stopped and vehemently gone after this stuff, and it was too late by then. Anyway, because this had been happening for a very long time. This would still be going on today, and it would be happening in your, all over the fucking place. A lot of this happened in London, remember? There were stories from London. Yeah, there were good stories in London, sure.
I thought it was more isolated to the northern regions.
It changed. Sorry, I think it was much more the case Midlands and North, but there were certainly cases in the south of England. And I get the fellas talking, the guys talking about paedophilia in England, but we have always had a level of pederasty and paedophilia in this country, and it's disgusting and sick.
And you also see it in Finland,
Yeah.
But remember, you've seen that bit by Edward Dutton where he talks about in his book how the Finnish love their oppressors, because he points it down to Finland having a very high IQ, one of the highest IQ, if not the highest in Europe, but also the distribution curve is very small, so that means that you're not going to get a lot of geniuses and you're not also going to get a lot of stupid people, because when you have the IQ very narrow,
it revolves around the mean.
Yes, and therefore the typical Finn is going to be someone who doesn't want to go against the grain.
Right.
And
that's the way a lot in Scandinavia.
Because when you have a certain when you have a certain population that has a high IQ but is very distributed on that area, then they're not going to take a lot of risks, you know. They're gonna want to like not rock the boat, you know.
Sure.
And if it means that that's going to lead to these foreigners who they want to welcome in raping their girls, they're going to try their best to look the other way. And you know, there are a lot of stories of girls like committing suicide and the Finnish media trying to put it behind.
There's a great documentary just came out on Netflix. Really, really straight. I couldn't believe it was on there, but it was about
Netflix of all places.
Yeah, right. But it's called The Pursuit, and just from a market standpoint, about market economics, it looks at conservatism and like fiscal, like libertarian and free trade and stuff, and takes you around the world and shows you there's actually a really great argument to be had for free enterprise. And it was a really good documentary. But they also told you about the Scandinavian countries and how they're not necessarily socialistic.
No, and it's still it's not sustainable. You know,
have to. Well, not down the line, and it does.
They're doing it right now. They're going to have to say, look, we can't have this free healthcare anymore because there's too much people. They're not putting enough into the system.
It comes at a price, ladies and gentlemen. You know, and again, have a little butchers at that. I think me and Jamie here know a bit about the economics and socialism and stuff, and socialist versus capitalist economies. And I don't want to be like one of the too much longer. So, But yeah, man, The Pursuit. Give it a go. Anyway. Cool, man.
Come take over everything from your melody. Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky MyG. I just listen to COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky MyG. Man, just listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE.